Hello and welcome to another week of Opportunistic Bets with your host. That's me, Sam Mendelson, getting ready for week 16 of the NFL. And what a week it was in week 15. Just doing a quick recap on the week. Go 4-4 with my picks. One of the wins, Big D, coming up big in New York. Let's just run through it. I took Arizona minus 13.5, thinking they lost to the Rams. Emotional game in Arizona. This should be a walkthrough. Clearly, we thought the biggest trap game of the year was Jacksonville versus Buffalo in Jacksonville, where they won 9-6 over Buffalo. Now it's going to be Arizona getting just absolutely their butts handed to them, losing 30-12 to the one-win Detroit Lions. Kyler Murray looked out of shape without DeAndre Hopkins. They couldn't get the run game going, and defensively, they couldn't make a stop. I mean, this is what we saw from Kyler Murray last year. Great to start off the season, gets hurt in the middle of the season, tries to come back from the injury, and just hasn't been the same. Was he without DeAndre Hopkins? Yes. But this was a team that really couldn't afford a loss, knowing that the Rams are right on them and San Francisco, and they lay an absolute dud in Detroit. So that's 0-1. Dallas covering 8.5 on the road. Loved it. Defense, incredible. 4 interceptions. Cowboys went 21-6. Another win. Buffalo, another big spread. So I went with all the favorites because the week before that, I went with all the underdogs, and this week I went with the favorites. Week 16, you'll see a little bit of a blend. Buffalo 10.5 against Carolina, easy win, 31-14. Josh Allen gets back on track before their big game with New England. Miami picked Miami 9.5, too big of a spread. They had it, pick 6 Tua. And all of a sudden it's 24-24. Then they get a last couple minute touchdown from Devontae Parker. 31-24, they don't cover. Cincy plus 2.5 on the road against Denver. Really love that pick. Probably said it was my hammer it down pick of the week. They win 15-10. Could have taken them on the money line as well. Carolina, nope, that's the Rams. Sorry, minus 6.5. They actually played just yesterday. Can you believe we had Tuesday football? They win 20-10. They cover. So right now 4-2. But then the other two losses: Green Bay minus 5. And they give up a touchdown at the buzzer. Baltimore tries to put it away with a 2-point conversion. They lose. So Green Bay wins 31-30. But they don't cover the 5 points. And then Tampa Bay, in the biggest dud of their season, they lose 9-0 at home. Get shut out at home again for the second straight year by the New Orleans Saints defense. So Tampa Bay minus 9.5. If I took New Orleans minus 8.5, I would have won incredible money. So that's my quick recap. 4-4, not great, not horrible. Let's look at getting that. Of course, you can follow all my information or all my sports betting at Mendy Island. That's where you see me just posting a lot of stuff regarding bets, any wins, any losses, anything that's exciting that happens in the world of sports, especially now with football, hockey on lockout, baseball, who knows if that's returning, and basketball, feels like every day there's a couple guys with COVID. So let's get right into it. Speaking about COVID, we're going to start with the 8 picks of the week. You got it. Absolutely. This is where we're going to start. Here I made a little table, and the first pick of the week, almost like the first draft pick of the week, I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers minus 2.5. So Thursday night, we got football Monday, we got football Tuesday, we got no football today on Wednesday, so I'm getting ready with week 16 with the first game of the week, and I'm going San Fran on the road minus 2.5. So here's the thing, A.J. Brown is off, he was designated to return from injured reserve, doesn't mean he's playing on a short week. We know that Eli Mitchell, the running back for San Fran, he is out for this week. So Jeff Wilson, who did a very admirable job running for over 100 yards. I mean, this is a team with Kyle Shanahan that they use all their players in such unique ways. I mean, one of the most exciting teams, I think, when they get things going. I mean, you got Kittle, who's a vertical deep threat. You saw him get a quick pass from Atlanta, just like a quick screen pass, and he runs like 35 yards. I mean, he has incredible speed. I thought he was the fastest tight end, and then I saw what Travis Kelce did on that last Thursday night to win in overtime with 191 yards. But so I'm going with San Fran minus 2.5. They're facing a Tennessee's team that has been really up and down. I mean, they've not been the same team, let's be honest, since Derrick Henry left, and that's totally understandable. He's a workhorse. There's no other running back like him. But they started the year with A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, Ryan Tannehill, and they were like, this is the team. And they look like the team like that. They were up in first in the AFC for quite some time. Then New England knocked them off in like week 13, week 14. But Tennessee, the last couple weeks, just really haven't got things going. And, when you look at Ryan Tannehill, you know that you're going to get, your 19 for 27 for 180 yards, 220 yards, nothing crazy unless, A.J. Brown breaks one. But they really rely on that running game. So they've been using Hilliard and McNichols, and it looks like Dante Foreman is the starting running back there. And San Fran's defense all of a sudden looks like that defense that, from a few years ago. Nick Bosa quietly having an incredible year. If you're not sure about Nick Bosa and you want to get on the bandwagon, he is up there with sacks, with 15 sacks. He's right behind Robert Quinn and TJ Watt. But Tennessee the last few weeks, they lose to Pittsburgh, a game that they probably should have won. Realistically, they had it. They kind of fumbled the bag in the second half. They couldn't really get anything going, couldn't convert first downs. Very good team, Pittsburgh, especially at home. Very good defense, I should say. Then they beat the Jags, and then before the bye week, they lost to the Patriots badly. They lost to the Texans. Not a great look. So 1-3 in the last four. And now you're going against the 49ers team. And not only that, you're looking behind you and saying the Colts, who we've beaten twice and have the tiebreaker against, is right on our tails. And they're playing some of the best football in the NFL, but so are the San Francisco 49ers. You could have Deebo Samuel, Kyle Juszczyk. You could have Eli Mitchell, who's out, or Jeff Wilson. You're going to have so many combinations. And Jimmy G does what he does, which is just maneuver the ball down the field, not throw anything crazy. You got Deebo Samuel. Ayuk is starting to turn up. That defense with Fred Warner, as I mentioned, Nick Bosa. I really like that pick, and that's why I'm starting the week off with San Fran -2.5. Next game, I've got Green Bay -6.5. Sticking with another early game. And by early game, I mean there's 2 Saturday Christmas games. Merry Christmas, everyone. It's time to give out some picks. And my gift to you is taking Green Bay Saturday 4:30. I have them at 6.5 right now. I think that's an absolute steal. So last week, Green Bay bit me. Now, they were playing in Baltimore, and Tyler Huntley had the game of his life. This is his second start. He got pretty much neutralized in Chicago, but he looked unstoppable. You couldn't tell if it was him or Lamar Jackson that was playing. Lamar Jackson's still questionable, so doesn't really matter. That's about Baltimore game. But Green Bay, you got David Bakhtiari and Jaire Alexander still probably out, so they're probably another week away. But Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if people know this, they got blown out in their first week against New Orleans, which was played in Jacksonville. It was a weird game. I don't even know if you remember. We're already 15 weeks in, going into week 16. That was week 1. Rodgers was 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Since that, he's gone 30 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That is insane. I just put money down on him to win MVP. Honestly, I know I'm late, but I had him at plus 140, and I said, you know what? Let's do it, A-Rod. I got you in fantasy. I got Devontae in fantasy in another league. I'm going to be rooting for him. Saturday night, this is a team, the only team right now that's clinched a playoff spot, clinched their own division. They're actually just battling it out for the number 1 seed, and I think it's going to really benefit them because people don't want to go to Green Bay to have to play a playoff game. I know you look at what happened in the NFC Championship game, and I think they're just learning from their mistakes. Fool me once, fool me twice, and then 3 times, the charm. And Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, they have something great. The big thing that I was going to notice and talk about was Marquez Valdes-Scantling, but he's out with COVID. He's just been another playmaker. But I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. We know what we get from Aaron Jones. He'll give you those big spurts. He'll catch balls out of the backfield. But A.J. Dillon, he is that bruiser. You bring him in the second half. You need 3rd and 4, whatever. You run a draw with him, run something. He's going to push his way for that first down. He's going to move the chains. He's going to get things going. And Aaron Rodgers is just playing lights out right now. So I'm a big fan of Green Bay. Cleveland had its moment in the sun last year. I really thought that they were a playoff team, but they're not even in the top 7. They're not a playoff team this year. They had a game on Monday afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern, to beat the Raiders, to kind of not only stay in the playoffs, but actually be ahead of Cincy in the division. And they fumbled the bag. And I just look at this situation, I'm going, if Green Bay stops Nick Chubb, which is what Raiders did, they're one-dimensional. They don't have any deep threats offensively. I don't know if Jarvis Landry's going to play. I don't know if Baker Mayfield's going to play. I think they are going to play, but even so, I'm not worried. I think defensively, I think there's definitely some holes and vulnerabilities that Aaron Rodgers is just going to exploit. I mean, I think this is going to be a really good game if you're an Aaron Rodgers fan and you're into his fantasy. And I think that Green Bay covers 6.5. Moving on to pick number 3, also sticking with Saturday. So I got the Thursday night game, and I'm taking the 2 Saturdays. I got the Colts +3, and I feel like that's an absolute steal. At the very worst case, I'm going to push. At the very best case, I'm thinking taking Colts money line. Arizona, as I mentioned just at the top of the show, a little bit off. They're not the team that they started off with. They dropped 2 in a row. They're all of a sudden tied with the Rams. The 49ers are right behind them. I mean, when you look at the division right now, Arizona, Rams 10-5, San Fran 8-6. Now, I don't think San Fran will win the division, but San Fran wins Thursday. All of a sudden, they're 9, and Arizona's like they're 1 game behind. And I'm pretty sure, if I could remember correctly, San Fran finishes the season off no games against the Cardinals. So they went 0-2 against the Cardinals. So that's, I guess, going to work out for them in terms of Arizona being ahead of them. But Arizona not playing well. Indianapolis, I think, shows us a lot so far this year. If you're following them on Hard Knocks, I definitely think you should. It's quite a show. Darius Leonard, just an absolute beast. Defensive player of the week, 1 interception, like a forced fumble, 10 tackles, just incredible. Him, DeForest Buckner, Kenny Moore, like they have a playmaker on each stage defensively. Offensively, they got one of the best guards in Quentin Nelson. Carson Wentz, if he doesn't throw the ball and manages it, he's finally got arguably the best running back in the league. I mean, I don't know what the argument is against him because his numbers are incredible and he gashed his defenses, but he's going to do the same thing to Arizona. I mean, Arizona's going to try and neutralize him. Michael Pittman, who got ejected from last game, should have a big game as well. So I really like the Colts in this situation. I think Frank Reich is just a better coach than Cliff Kingsbury. You're going to give me Colts with some points. I'm going to take it, even on the road. It's in a dome. I mean, they're used to playing in a dome. And I think, one way you keep the fans on the road silent is long drives. And Jonathan Taylor, drive after drive. So definitely take him in fantasy. Definitely take him in FanDuel or DraftKings. I'm taking Colts +3. I might even take money line. Fourth game I'm going to do, I'm taking the Bills +3.5. Now, I was mentioning a little bit earlier, New England losing to the Colts. Buffalo, big win against Carolina. Look, the first game that these two teams played against each other, I think that should just be thrown away. I mean, they were playing in wins that were just ridiculous. Now, it counted in the standings. It definitely did not look good on Buffalo. But I think kind of since the second half started of the Tampa Bay game the week after, they've really started turning around. Look, Devin Singletary got a bunch of first half touches, got a first half rushing touchdown. The week before that, they didn't even rush the ball in the first half. I mean, just to think, like, you have like 4 or 5 drives, and you're like, not one play is designed for a run. I mean, Josh Allen was running, but not one design run play. So I really think, even with Cole Beasley out, I really like that Gabriel Davis is emerging. Stephon Diggs should should have a better game than what he had a couple weeks ago in Buffalo. I think the whole team's going to be more prepared. They know, hey, we beat New England. We're back in it. We're back into taking the division. They got 1 from us in our place. Let's take 1 from their place. I look at New England, and I'm still not sold. I know their defense is good, and I know they're a tough team at home. But I'm going to take 3.5 points. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Buffalo keeps it close. If you're giving me 3.5 points, if it was like even, I don't know if I would have necessarily gone with Buffalo. But it seems too easy to not look at it and say, okay, first of all, I think Buffalo's going to win. So money line, I was looking at that. But plus 3.5, if you're going to give me that odd, I'm going absolutely crazy with that. I'm taking that easily. And that is my 4th pick. After the break, I'll give you the last 4 of my 8. And I feel pretty good about this week, guys.
12-Ounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12-Ounce Sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120OZE and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sports book. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
Okay, welcome back to the second half of the show. Quick rundown of the first four picks. You can see them on my little board right here. Yeah, we go. San Fran minus 2.5 on Thursday night against the Tennessee Titans on the road. Green Bay minus 6.5 at home against Cleveland on Saturday afternoon. Indy plus 3 on the road on Saturday night. Buffalo plus 3.5. So I'm taking some road teams. Got a couple favorites, couple underdogs. Let's move on to the fifth pick. Let's keep it rolling, folks. Detroit. What? Are you kidding me? Plus 7.5? What? Yes, I am taking the Detroit Lions in a spread. No, obviously I'm not taking them to win. But Detroit going up against Atlanta. Right now, I have them at plus 7.5. I don't think Atlanta has the capability to blow out teams. I love Kyle Pitts. He's had a couple good weeks, a couple great weeks, mostly mediocre. But Matt Ryan is not the same quarterback he was a few years ago. He's less mobile. You know, the running game really outside of Cordarrelle Patterson, it's non-existent. And I think Cordarrelle Patterson could have a good day. But Detroit showed me something last week. They're not giving up. That emotional post-game speech by head coach Dan Campbell. I mean, if I was in that room, I would be riveted. I don't care about playing for a top pick. I want to be a winner. And they're trying to build a winning culture in Detroit. I almost went Detroit money line. I almost said, you know what, let me go crazy. I think maybe week 17, I'll just throw in a bunch of crazy bets. But I want to get people their money. I want to be opportunistic. That's the idea of the show. We're not looking to make the most money. We're just being opportunistic fans and bettors. And you're saying, okay, how can I make a little bit of money? Let's drop a little money here. Let's drop a little money there. First thing I said off the show, this 8 parlay team that I do, I'm looking at it and I'm going, maybe I take 5 of them, maybe I take 6. If you be bold and you take all 8, like, best of luck. It's just, the payout is great, but it's definitely, like, if I did the payout right now on all those, it would be over, like, $2,000 on a $20 bet. So, it's definitely something I would think of, but Detroit, they just played really well. They're also not going to be out in the rain or out in the snow. They're playing in the Dome, in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And I just think that, you know, they're going to play tough. They've played some really tough games this year. The game against Baltimore is first that comes to mind. You know, they've definitely battled the Pittsburgh game that they tied. So I'm taking Detroit with the points. Bit of a shocker, I know, but I kind of am excited to see, like, I'm not going to watch that game, but I mean, I do have Kyle Pitts in fantasy, but I'm not going to really watch that game. But it'll be nice to know, like, oh, Detroit's winning 7-3 in the end of first quarter. You know, come back and hit me up at Edmond Island if it's Detroit 7-3 at the end of the first quarter going, wow, Notre Dame is, you can predict everything. I don't know about that, but all right, moving on to the 6th game of the bets. Playing the Chargers 9.5. Now the Chargers against Houston. I mean, they are a very good team going up against a very bad team. Houston looked great last week, but who did Houston play? The Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, I thought the Jaguars, I may have laid a bet on the Jaguars to win that game, thinking, okay, you know, usually the first game an interim coach comes in, especially with the whole Urban Meyer thing. They want to show the world, hey, this guy doesn't matter. We're moving on from him. Let's be good. They did not look good. But Houston's not a great team, and it's just reported today that Brandon Cooks, their top receiver, top player on the team, to be honest, is probably out of the game for COVID. So the Chargers 9.5, I think they just needed a big win. I mean, you look at the standings right now in the AFC, in the playoff picture, and the Chargers are hanging on. I mean, they're tied with the Colts. They're in 6th right now, but they're tied with the Colts and the Bills at 8-6. The Colts, I have them here to cover. Maybe they win. They go to 9-6. The Bills, I think they win as well. I see they have to keep up with the Joneses. They everyone wins. They stay in 6. They're good. They're probably not going to win the division now, even though they split with KC this year. That loss at home, devastating as it was, I think they've had a lot of time to process it. I think that Brent Staley is going to get the team motivated. Austin Eckler might be out, but you got Keenan Allen, Mike Will, Justin Herbert's going to put the team on his back. I really think this team is playoff bound. I really like watching this team. They're one of my favorite teams to watch. But you also have Baltimore at 8-6. They're playing against Cincinnati in a big game. One of those teams is going to be 9-6. The Steelers are going to be 8-6-1, so they'd have a tiebreaker if they were to win their game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Unlikely. The Raiders, the Dolphins, the Browns, the Broncos, they're all right there. That if you lose and you go to 8-7, there's so many teams that go 8-7. So they need a big win. They need to do it in a convincing fashion. Yes, they're on the road, but they're playing again in a dome. I'm liking the setting for the Chargers right now. They got to start turning it up. There's 3 weeks left, and the Chargers, to finish off their schedule outside of Houston, they have, I know they have Denver one more time. They have Denver at home and then the Raiders. So 2 division games. You can't mess up. You can't fumble the bag, as I've been saying all day. And I think the Chargers win big. That's my 6th pick. My 7th pick of the week, I'm going Carolina, plus 11.5. See, I told you, I mixed in some favorites with some underdogs. Carolina is not a very good team. They started off as an incredible team, and I read today that Cam Newton's going to be the starter, but Sam Darnold's going to have a role. I don't even know if I love this one. I was really going back between taking this one, even maybe laying some money on the Rams against the Vikings, maybe the Cowboys Sunday night, but that spread right now was at 11.5. Don't know if I love Dallas by 11.5, and I wasn't going to bet against them, and I didn't want to do money line. So I was like, all right, I need to find a bet for these people to be opportunistic. And this is the definition of opportunistic. Leonard Fournette, out. Lavonte David, out. Chris Godwin, out. Mike Evans, questionable. I mean, their team is going to be Tom Brady, Ronald Jones, and I would take those 2 over everyone in Carolina, especially with Christian McCaffrey, but Tom Brady, Ronald Jones, Antonio Brown, and Gronk, of course. I think that's a lot of points. And the only reason I'm taking, if it was, Houston, Jacksonville, Jets, I'm taking the Bucks by 10.5, even with a crippled lineup. But Carolina division, just you look at sometimes division matchups, and I just think they're not always predictable. That a team that is the top of the division going up against a team at the bottom of the division is not necessarily going to blow them out. We've also learned from this year, clearly the Arizona game last week, that anything is possible in this one. This one is probably my least certainty. If I had to put a percentage, I'd say San Fran, I'm at like a 96%. Green Bay, I'm at 99%. Indy, I'm at like an 87%. Buffalo, I'm around like 90%. Detroit, I feel really good in that 90%. Chargers, I'll put 100% on that. Carolina, I'm putting like 40, 50%. So you're going, Sam, why are you taking it? Because I got to be opportunistic. I got to find somehow, a team that is going to just keep it close. And I think defensively, maybe they have a good game. Again, you're playing with Scotty Miller and Tyler Johnson and Bashard Perryman. And I think Carolina at home is going to be able to cover 11.5 points. Don't say I love this pick, but I say I'm just going to do enough. Cam Newton scores 2 touchdowns, and they lose, 21-14, 21-13, or, 24-14. I kind of see that being the game that it is. It might be one of those games again, 17-13. Maybe Carolina takes a little bit of the blueprint from the Saints and say, okay, if they can do it, this is what we can do, and they can get pressure and stuff on Gilmore, and if he shuts down Antonio Brown, this can happen. I don't think Carolina's going to win. I mean, the money line was ridiculous, but Carolina plus 11.5. I'm going to put some money on that. Just say that. And then finally, lastly, I'm taking Philly minus 9.5. Now, Philly on a short week. And I know I'm kind of contradicting what I just said because they're playing a division game at home. But between Jalen Hurts, between Miles Sanders, they've already announced that Sterling Shepard's done for the year. Kadarius Toney may or may not be back because of COVID. Mike Glenn is the quarterback because Daniel Jones is done for the year. This team has been riddled with injuries. They've been riddled with issues all year long. I think that, Joe Judge has got to go. I think you got to go, Joe. Bing bong. That's my little impression there. But Philly 9.5. They're playing in Philly, so it's not like they have to travel on a short week. They played yesterday. They really played well against Washington. Didn't really start out great, but between Devontae Smith and Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts, you got three very speedy options that are just going to be able to carve the Giants. And I think defensively, they're a different team at home than they are on the road. Philadelphia defensively this year has been really, really good. Outside of the game with, I think, Kansas City, which was, I think, pretty manageable for most of the game, they've looked, I mean, I'm going to look quickly at their schedule, just at a home and away thing. Home, great. Away, nah. You know, they lost the Giants 13-7. They held them to one touchdown, 2 field goals. They did a great job against the Saints. I mean, they did a really tough job against the Chargers. They just are a better team defensively and a better team as a whole. I think you could say about any team, but Philly especially really relies on that. You know, their Philly fans going crazy and the yelling. There was a lot of times that I saw, you know, Garrett Gilbert just not know what to do, or the play snap, or just wasn't designed really well. And so I still think that, you know, even though it's under the 10-point hold, I think that Philadelphia can win easily, like 30-10, 28-13. I think they're covering 10 points. So those are my 8 picks. Let me know what you think. Hit me up at Mendy Island if you like any of them, if you don't like any of them. I'd be very curious to know what your thoughts on them. I know a lot of people are probably going to think New England, but if you're giving me points, Buffalo. Again, the one I was really concerned was Carolina. So when I'm looking at this board, I'm going, okay, Sam, let's, get your things together. Do I trust the Rams to win on the road against Minnesota? I don't know. I know Cooper Kupp will have a great day. I'm always betting Cooper Kupp. It's like that movie Draft Day. You always take the guy that you know, and the guy that you know is always going to perform is Cooper Kupp, number 10 for the Rams. But Minnesota, Justin Jefferson, Thielen's going to be back, I believe. Dalvin Cook, not going to run a lot. Definitely struggled on Monday night against the Bears. Probably will struggle again, but I didn't feel comfortable even at -2.5 for the Rams. Other games this week, Bengals at home against the Ravens. Can the Bengals sweep the Ravens? I know the Ravens are decimated with injuries, but if Lamar comes back, that should be a good game. We saw what he did a couple years ago in Cincinnati with that Spinorama move. It was clearly one of the better plays I've seen in my life. Like Odell Beckham's one-handed touchdown, Lamar Jackson's split, Patrick Mahomes throwing it with the other hand. I mean, those are moments that you just remember regardless of what week they're in. Those are wow, insane. Chicago, Seattle, there's no spread on that one, so I didn't touch that one. Jacksonville Jets didn't feel like wanting to touch that game because obviously no one really cares. Similar to Detroit, Atlanta, but I feel good about Detroit this week. Raiders, Broncos. I don't know. Teddy Bridgewater out with a concussion. Drew Lock, don't know if I really trust him. Vegas at home, I think they're going to squeak away a win. I think they're going to somehow keep their playoff hopes alive with everything that's happened this year with this team between Gruden, Ruggs, Damon Arnett. It's just crazy. Pittsburgh Chiefs. Thought about putting the Chiefs, but I need to know more. I did this a few weeks ago. I said, I'm taking this team. I forget who exactly it was. I think it was a Thursday night I took Lamar and Baltimore to beat Chicago in Chicago, 3.5, 4.5. And he got sick the night before. So with everything going on, Harrison Butker's out with COVID. Tyreek, Kelsey, are they playing? I don't know. I don't want to touch that one. And then I mentioned Dallas, 10.5. I already said that. And then the Saints, -3 against Miami. I think that's a coin toss. Just too hard. If I had to put that one up against the Carolina one, I feel a lot better about the Carolina one. But I feel really good about these picks. I mean, I could come back next week and I go 0-8. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think I'm going to start the Thursday and Saturday off 3-0. Then I got 5 games to watch on Sunday and go 8-0 if I wanted to put in a parlay. But again, I'm just here to make opportunistic bets for you guys. You can do with it whatever you like. If I've won a couple big bets this year, so I'm not tooting my own horn. But I do know a little thing about football. And I hope you enjoy the show. One more show before the new year, starting next week. But again, this has just been an absolute incredible ride. Thank you again for really joining us here on Opportunistic Bets. My name is Sam. That's me. I'm the host of the show. Those are my 8 bets. I keep pointing always the wrong way. Those are my 8 bets. And yes, I'm excited to watch Week 16. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Then it's the playoff times, folks. So enjoy. I tip a cap to you. And let's go, Cowboys!